Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that might sound a little dry at first, but trust me, it's super important and affects all of us in significant ways. We're talking about tariffs. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Tariffs? Really? Isn't that just some boring economic jargon? But hang tight, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand what tariffs are, but also how they impact the U.S. economy, both positively and negatively. What are tariffs? Let's start with the basics. What exactly are tariffs? In simple terms, tariffs are taxes imposed by a government on imported goods. Imagine you're shopping online and you find this amazing gadget that's being shipped from another country. If the U.S. government decides to impose a tariff on that gadget, the price you pay will go up because the seller has to pass that extra cost on to you. This is done to make domestic products more competitive against foreign imports. It's like saying, hey, buy American, support local businesses. Sounds good, right? But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The history of tariffs. Tariffs have been a part of trade policy for centuries. They date back to ancient civilizations, where they were used to fund governments and protect local economies. In the U.S., tariffs played a significant role in the country's early economic development. The Tariff Act of 1789, one of the first pieces of legislation passed by Congress, was designed to raise revenue and protect budding American industries. Fast forward to today, and tariffs remain a key tool in global trade negotiations, reflecting the evolving dynamics of international commerce. Pros of tariffs: protecting domestic industries. One of the biggest benefits is that tariffs can protect local industries. When foreign products are cheaper because they don't have to pay those tariffs, it can hurt American companies. Tariffs help level the playing field, allowing local manufacturers to compete more effectively. For example, in the steel industry, U.S. steel companies often struggle to compete with cheaper imports. By imposing tariffs, the government ensures that American jobs are protected and industries remain viable. This can also extend to emerging industries, providing them with the time and space needed to grow and compete globally, generating government revenue. Another advantage is that tariffs generate revenue for the government. When tariffs are collected, that money goes into the government's coffers and can be used for public services like roads, schools, and healthcare. For example, in 2019, the U.S. collected approximately $79 billion in tariff revenue. That's money that can fund essential services, contributing to national infrastructure and community well-being. Historically, before the introduction of income tax, tariffs were the primary source of revenue for the federal government. Encouraging domestic innovation. Tariffs can also drive innovation by encouraging domestic industries to improve their products and processes. When companies know they need to compete with international players, they may invest more in research and development, leading to better quality goods and technological advancements. For example, during periods of high tariffs in the automotive industry, American car manufacturers were pushed to innovate, creating vehicles that could compete not only domestically, but also internationally. Cons of tariffs: higher prices for consumers. While tariffs protect local industries, they can lead to higher prices for consumers. When taxes are imposed on imported goods, businesses often pass those costs on to consumers. This means everyday items like electronics, clothing, and even food become more expensive. For instance, during recent trade tensions, Studies showed that U.S. consumers bore almost the full cost of tariffs on Chinese imports, adding up to billions of dollars annually in increased costs. These price increases can disproportionately affect low and middle-income households, further widening economic inequality. Retaliation and trade wars. Another downside is the potential for retaliation. When one country imposes tariffs, the affected country often responds with its own tariffs. This can escalate into a trade war, creating uncertainty for businesses and consumers. A recent example is the U.S. China trade war. When the U.S. imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, China retaliated with tariffs on American exports, like soybeans and pork, causing significant losses for American farmers. The American Farm Bureau Federation estimated that U.S. agricultural exports to China dropped by over $10 billion during the height of the trade war. Trade wars can also strain diplomatic relations, making it harder for countries to cooperate on other global challenges like climate change or security. Disruption to global supply chains. In today's interconnected economy, tariffs can disrupt global supply chains. Many products are manufactured using components from multiple countries. For example, the tech industry often relies on parts sourced from Asia, assembled in North America, and sold worldwide. Tariffs on any part of this supply chain can increase costs, delay production, and reduce efficiency. This ripple effect can impact businesses of all sizes, from multinational corporations to small startups. Sector-specific impacts agriculture. Let's take a closer look at the agricultural sector, which is often one of the hardest hit by tariffs. When tariffs are imposed on crops or livestock, farmers may struggle to sell their products overseas, leading to an oversupply in domestic markets. This oversupply can drive prices down to levels where farmers can no longer cover their costs. For example, during the U.S. China trade tensions, many American soybean farmers faced devastating losses as Chinese buyers turned to other countries for their supply. This not only impacts farmers, but also the entire rural economy, including equipment manufacturers, transportation companies, and local businesses. Manufacturing and innovation. On the flip side, tariffs can sometimes encourage innovation. When domestic companies face competition from foreign imports, they may invest in research and development to create superior products. For instance, tariffs on certain technologies have driven American companies to develop alternatives, fostering innovation and reducing reliance on foreign suppliers. This can lead to better quality goods and long-term benefits for consumers. However, if tariffs are too high or prolonged, they can stifle competition and lead to complacency among domestic producers. Global implications. In today's interconnected world, tariffs don't just affect the imposing country's economy, they ripple across global markets. Countries that rely heavily on exports to the U.S. may face economic slowdowns if they lose access to American consumers. This, in turn, can destabilize global supply chains and even impact American companies that rely on imported materials or components. For example, when the U.S. imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum in 2018, it raised costs for American manufacturers who use these materials to produce goods. This led to higher prices for cars, appliances, and other products, affecting both businesses and consumers. Additionally, such actions can prompt affected countries to seek alternative markets or form new trade alliances, potentially reducing U.S. influence in global trade. balancing act. So where does that leave us? Tariffs are clearly a double-edged sword. On one hand, they can protect local industries, create jobs, and generate government revenue. On the other hand, they can lead to higher prices for consumers, strained international relations, and harm to specific sectors of the economy. Policymakers must carefully weigh these pros and cons when designing trade policies. It's a delicate balance, and the outcomes often depend on how tariffs are implemented and what complementary policies are in place. Final thoughts. As we wrap up, I encourage you to think critically about the role of tariffs in our economy. It's easy to get caught up in the headlines, but understanding the nuances is key. The next time you hear about tariffs being imposed or lifted, take a moment to consider the broader implications. Who benefits? Who gets hurt? And how does it affect you personally? Thanks for tuning in today. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about tariffs? Do you see them as a necessary tool for protecting American jobs? Or do you think they do more harm than good? Let's chat in the comments below. Until next time, take care. And keep questioning the world around you.